This video is brought to you by Commentary Creations. I'm Enrique Latoison, your 3-minute lawyer. Today we're going to talk about Bill Cosby. Some of you are tuning in because the title of the video is Bill Cosby is innocent. So the reason why I say he's innocent is because in 2021, the state Supreme Court of Pennsylvania overturned his case and he cannot be recharged. So legally, he is innocent. Now, whether you believe he did it or not, that's for another day. So let's talk about what happened. So he went to trial back in 2018 for something he was accused of doing back in 2004. He was actually charged 12 days before the statute of limitations ran out. And the big thing about this case, there was a lot of arguing and fighting about whether or not this deposition that Mr. Cosby actually testified in, and he gave up his right to remain silent, whether or not any of that information could be used against Mr. Cosby. So now back in 2005, when Ms. Constand actually brought the charges about 1 year after the incident, Mr. Castor, who was the district attorney at the time, said, we're not going to charge Bill Cosby because I don't believe there's enough evidence here. And what he also said was, since I'm not going to charge you, Ms. Constand could go on and sue you, and you cannot use your Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. Because normally in a criminal case, your Fifth Amendment right keeps you from testifying or saying things to incriminate yourself. But in a civil case, you have to testify. So to keep that from happening, he said, I'm not going to charge you. Mr. Cosby goes and he does his deposition in the civil case, and Ms. Constand actually settles for $3.5 million, case closed. Now, leap back forward to 2018. Now he's charged with a different district attorney, which was Kevin Steele, who won an election at the time, and they charged Mr. Cosby. He was charged with 3 counts of sexual assault against Ms. Constand. There were different rulings during the trial, of course, arguing about whether or not he should have given up his Fifth Amendment right. This case ended in a hung jury, which meant at that time he was still legally innocent. But the prosecution at the time had a right to charge him a second time, which we call Cosby 2. So Cosby 2 took place a year later. They do the same trial with the same people. At this time, there was a couple more witnesses to testify, and even more information came out about that deposition that Mr. Cosby gave up his right to remain silent. And during this case, he was actually found guilty of 3 charges of sexual assault. He was sentenced 3 to 10 years in jail. Now, when he got sentenced and he went away to prison, his lawyers continued to argue about whether or not he should have given up his Fifth Amendment right to testify, and whether or not a district attorney who made a promise not to charge him, whether or not that promise had to be kept. Well, the state Supreme Court of Pennsylvania said, hey, if a district attorney makes a promise like that, you gave up your right to remain silent, that promise needs to be upheld, and they threw the verdict out against Mr. Cosby. So what do we have today? Is he innocent? Is he guilty? That's up for you to decide. Over 50 to 60 women came forward and said Mr. Cosby did these things. However, he is factually and legally innocent underneath the laws of Pennsylvania. Enrique Latoison, 3-minute lawyer.